So what we have here is a weighing bottle which contains the oxalic acid dihydrate B, and this is a weighing balance which is a 4-digit weighing balance. So first of all, we need to prepare a 0.1 normal oxalic acid solution. We first need to weigh out the exact amount of oxalic acid we need, which we have already calculated and which has come out to be 0.63 gram. So what I will do is use this weighing bottle and the weighing balance to weigh out 0.63 gram of oxalic acid into this 100 ml volumetric flask. So what I do first is note the initial weight of the weighing bottle along with its lid. As you can see, the weight of the weighing bottle along with the lid initially is 40.082. Now if I need to subtract 0.63 gram, which I will transfer into this volumetric flask, the weight that I need here will be 40.082 minus 0.63, which gives us 39.45. So what I will do is gradually transfer small volumes of oxalic acid into this volumetric flask till my weighing balance here shows 39.45. I will have to do it in very small amounts, because if I accidentally pour out too much, then it will be wasted. See, this now shows 39.705, which means I will have to still pour out a very small amount into this volumetric flask. This shows 39.69. I will have to pour still some more. This you will have to do very carefully and with a lot of patience. It still shows 39.67. .61. It shows 39.54. .50, so just a little bit more. It shows 39.48. Just a little bit more. This will be, I think, the final one. Even if you are not getting the exact value, it doesn't matter. Just you need to note down which value it is, so that your oxalic acid may not be exactly point normal. It might be 0.99, it might be 0.98, but what you need to know is the exact value so that you can do the further standardization with it. So I have here 39.47, I think, which will be sufficient to get our 0.1 normal acid. This is a 100 ml volumetric flask, and the marking it shows here is right up to 100 ml. So if I fill it with water right up to this marking, then we will have 100 ml of 0.1 normal oxalic acid solution. While transferring, I have used this funnel. So now when I am filling water, my first job will be to wash this funnel properly, so that any small amount of oxalic acid that is remaining in the funnel, it will wash down into the volumetric flask. So now I have washed the funnel properly so that no more oxalic acid particles is lying in the funnel. So I will now remove this funnel, and the bulk portion is still not dissolved in the water. So before I fill it up, I will first ensure that it is well dissolved into the water. This is a very necessary step, because if without dissolving I fill it up to the brim, then it will be very difficult then to dissolve the particles. Now as you can see that the particles are more or less dissolved. Now I will fill it up again. Initially I can use the funnel and directly the distilled water bottle to fill it up, but once I reach near the top I will use the dropper, because then I have to be very acute and precise that I do not cross the mark. So I filled it up sufficiently with the bottle. Now I will use the bottle. And one thing we must keep in mind, that when we are filling it up with water, we must take care that the mark touches the lower meniscus of the water, not the upper meniscus. So as you see, the upper meniscus has touched the mark, but the lower meniscus has still not touched the mark. So I will add a few more drops of water. You have to be very careful so that you see from the exact parallel of this flask. So now, as you can see, that the lower meniscus of the water is touching the volumetric flask and the marking of the volumetric flask. So we can conclude that our 0.1 normal 100 ml oxalic acid solution is ready as a primary standard solution. So we will now use this standard solution further to standardize the supplied 0.1 normal NaOH solution, which we will further use to titrate the unknown solution of H2SO4. So the first step will be to transfer 20 ml of oxalic acid solution into this 100 ml conical flask. So what we have here is this 100 ml conical flask, the 0.1 normal oxalic acid solution that we prepared as the primary standard solution. This is a 10 ml pipette, and this is a pipette pump. So I will use this pipette pump, which will suck out the solution from this volumetric flask into this 100 ml conical. So as I am going to titrate it with 20 ml, so I will use it twice. So one thing is that the pipette is completely dry. I have already dried it, so there is not one single drop of any water or any other solution which will be there to contaminate our primary standard solution. So I will suck it up using this pump up to the marking, and one thing we must ensure is that no air bubble remains in between. As you can see, some air bubbles are coming up here. We will have to get rid of these air bubbles, because otherwise they will hamper our marking. So this has already crossed the marking, so I will just drop the excess solution back into this volumetric flask so that I have the pipette full exactly up to its mark. Here again also I will consider the lower meniscus for the marking. as you can see, the lower meniscus has just touched the mark of the pipette. So now what I am going to do is transfer this into our conical flask. I have taken 10 ml here. I will repeat this process to take up another 10 ml. You can also use a 20 ml pipette if you want. Then you can do it only once and you will have 20 ml into the conical flask. Again I am checking so that the lower meniscus touches the mark exactly. Now I will transfer it into the conical flask. And one thing is you must keep in mind is that the last drop which will stick to the pipette, which is not willing to fall off on its own, that drop you must not force into the conical flask, because if you are using the same pipette again and again for consecutive titrations, that part will be the pipetting constant. Every time the same volume will stick to that pipette, that is unique for each individual pipette. So you must not force that last drop into the conical flask. So now we have our oxalic acid solution ready for titration. We will add one or a few drops of indicator, which is phenolphthalein. As you all know, in its acidic form, phenolphthalein is colorless. So when I am adding a few drops into it, it will not show any color. But when I am titrating it with NaOH, the moment the neutralization point is reached, we will see the color. I am adding 4 to 5 drops of phenolphthalein into it. So our conical flask is ready for titration. The next step is to how to fill the burette. So here I have the burette. However, when I am using the burette, the first thing is what I must take care is that I will have to rinse the burette with whatever solution I am filling it with. For example, I will use the our supplied 0.1 normal NaOH solution, which I am supposed to standardize. So first thing what I will do is I will just once rinse the burette with this solution which I am going to fill it with. What is the purpose of this rinsing? Even if some amount of water or any other solution is sticking to the burette, it will go out and then I will have the burette as clean and untouched as it should be for a perfect titration. So first I will fill it. May or may not use a funnel while filling it, the burette. However, I will use a funnel so that no drop of our solution is wasted outside. First, I will rinse the burette very carefully with the solution. Then I will let it fall off into a conical which contains waste solvent, so that this part of the burette will also be rinsed when it falls. burette is perfectly clean. While filling the burette with our solution, we will take care so that we can keep another fresh conical below the burette, so that if our solution anyways falls, if we fill it to a bit excess and if we have to let it go down, it is not wasted. Okay, so now I have the burette rinsed and ready, completely clean. I have placed a fresh beaker below the burette and I am filling it, so even if some solution is excess, that is not wasted. So our next step will be to fill the burette. I will place a funnel on top of the burette. This is a 50 ml burette, and if you see one closely, you will see that it has marking starting from 0 to 50. So my target would be to fill it up to 0. But then again, one thing you have to take care that this part of the burette should not remain empty, because if this part is empty, then the exact measurement and the exact calibration of the burette will be hampered. So what I am going to do is I am going to fill it up a little more than 0 and let the solution drop into this fresh beaker, so that this part of the burette is not empty. Now I will fill up the burette and first ensure that it is closed properly. Now I will fill up the burette. Here also you have to ensure that no air bubble goes inside. So I have filled up the burette, crossing the marking of 0. Now I will let go of some of the solution so that it is an exact 0 at the top. Here again also you have to consider the lower meniscus. Okay, now if I see right parallelly, I can see that the lower meniscus has touched the marking of 0. So now our burette is ready. I will just let this last drop fall away. Okay, so now our burette is ready and filled up with NaOH for titration. And here I already have the conical flask containing the oxalic acid complete with phenolphthalein. So now I can begin with the titration. So now we have a titration apparatus ready. This is the burette and the conical flask containing 20 ml of oxalic acid along with the phenolphthalein indicator. Now what we have filled up the burette is 0.1 normal NaOH which has been supplied to us. But however, it might not be exactly 0.1 normal. It may be 0.101 normal or 0.099 normal. So if we do not know the exact strength of the NaOH, then it is difficult to use it further to find out the exact strength of the sulfuric acid that we are supplied with. That is why what we are going to do is, we are going to standardize this NaOH. That means we are going to titrate it against the oxalic acid solution and find out exact concentration of this NaOH. So now I begin the titration. This contains oxalic acid and phenolphthalein. And phenolphthalein is colorless in acidic medium, so you will not be able to see any color. But as the base sodium hydroxide gradually falls into the conical, it will gradually increase the pH of the solution inside the conical, and that is why when it reaches the neutralization point, the phenolphthalein will show a bright pink color which will indicate the end of our titration. So now I am going to let this sodium hydroxide fall into this drop by drop, and I will continue to shake the conical so that the homogeneous mixture is there inside the conical. As you can see, I have placed a white sheet below the conical, so as when the color changes, the change will be stark and I can easily observe it with my naked eyes. closely, you can see at the point where the NaOH solution is falling into the conical flask, it is attaining a slight pink color, but it is not persistent. When I am shaking, it is going away again. But if the end point of the titration is reached, the faint pink color will be persistent. It will not go away. As you can see, a faint pink color is there, but it is not persistent. If I am shaking it well, it is going away. So, maybe one, or I am very near to my end point, maybe one or two more drops will do it. See, this is the perfect end point where just one drop has changed my solution into a faint pink color. So, we will note the marking on the burette, the lower meniscus again, which shows an exact marking of 19, exact 19. So, a 19 ml of the supplied NaOH solution has been utilized to neutralize our 0.1 normal of oxalic acid, which I have taken 20 ml in the conical flask. So now I have refilled my burette with sodium hydroxide solution up to the 0 mark again. In the meanwhile, what I have done is I have already calculated the exact concentration of sodium hydroxide solution. How have I done that? I had taken 20 ml of exact 0.1 normal oxalic acid down in the conical flask. And then I had found out that I required 19 ml of the so-called unknown solution of sodium hydroxide. So now I have used the normality equation N1V1 equals to N2V2. From that I found out the normality of the sodium hydroxide solution, which comes out to be 0.1052 normal concentration. So now what I am going to do is that I know the perfect concentration of the sodium hydroxide solution. I am going to take this supplied 0.1 normal H2SO4 solution, which is my unknown solution now, because now then again I do not know whether it is exact 0.1 normal or a little less or a little more. So that is what I am going to find out. I am going to repeat the same titration process again so that I can find out what is the exact concentration of this H2SO4 solution. And one more thing we must keep in mind, we did the previous titration, we did only one time. But what we have to do is that we have to repeat it at least 3 to 4 times so that we get concordant values, so that we might get the actual perfect concentration. So just for showing you now, I showed it only one time, but when you are doing it, you should ideally do at least 3 to 4 times of each titration you are doing. So now I am going to use the same technique of a pipette and a pipette pump, and I am going to transfer 10 ml of this supplied 0.1 normal H2SO4 solution into this conical flask. I have already rinsed the pipette with the supplied H2SO4 solution. So I am going to fill it up again up to the mark. just like last time. So I have transferred it into the conical. Mind the pipetting constant, the last drop, which you should never force back into the conical. The next step would be to add the indicator so that we know when our titration is over. And just add 3 drops of the indicator, not too much. I will now shake it well. And once again, like last time, I will begin with the titration where the marking is filled up to 0. So, here I go on with the titration. I'm going for the similar technique again. Let each drop fall and shake the conical simultaneously. Here again you will see that the faint pink color has just appeared. Is it persistent? Yes, it is persistent. So we can conclude that our endpoint of the titration has been reached. So now we will check the marking on the burette. The marking on the burette, if we consider the lower meniscus, shows exactly 10.4. So 10.4 ml of the standardized NaOH solution has been used up to neutralize the supplied solution of sulfuric acid. If we perform the consecutive calculations, then we will be able to find out the exact concentration of the supplied 0.1 normal H2SO4 solution.